guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is so very special. We are going to talk about the newest Glaminatrix palette that is being launched in collaboration with Monolith, and this is called the Crown Legacy palette. You can see this palette in the color story. If greens and purples are your tones, this palette is for you. This is such a beautiful, colorful, muted but jewel tone palette. I really love the color story, how this was laid down. But let me show you the swatches all in all so that you can see all the shifts, the dimension, the way it appears in the swatch, just to see the variety of undertone that are there in the mattes. But I'm also going to do live swatches. But let me tell you the launch details. This palette launches on September 28th at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and it will be available to ship locally within the US from their fulfillment center. So if you're buying only this palette, you'll be able to snag it from the US warehouse. You don't need to pay the duties and the charges. So do keep that in mind. But if you are buying some other goodies from the website, from Glaminatrix Cosmetics, then it would have two different shipping fees, because this is the only item that is available in the US fulfillment center. Rest everything is still available in the Australia. So do keep that in mind. They are definitely working towards getting a few more products except their single shadows, is what I came to know. Let's begin swatching this baby, and we are also going to do two different eye looks that you're seeing in this video, but I'll definitely do tons more coming in the future. So let's begin swatching. I'm going to swatch all the mattes together just so that you can see all the tones that are there. So I'm going to go column by column. There you go. That's the first column. The first shade definitely has a little bit more grayness to it, which is the shade Majesty. And the second shade is called Jewel, which is more like a peachy, not even peach, like a beige matte. And the third shade is called Sovereign, which is like an olive tone green, which is definitely more on the mid-tone side. So first two definitely more on the lighter tone side, and the third shade is definitely more on the mid-tone side. I'm going to swatch all the greens together so that you can see the undertone difference. The next shade that we have is Hair, and Hair is definitely more cool toned sagey green. And then we have the shade Legacy, which is more of the deeper green, like more of an emerald green, I would say. So those are the greens of the palette. Three more mattes to swatch. Let's actually swatch the shade Rain, which is the deeper blue in the palette, but it might show close to the emerald green, which it is not. So just keep that in mind, okay? There you go. So those are the greens together. Now let's swatch the pink and the burgundy shade that we have. The first shade is Noble, which is the lighter tone lavendery pink. And then we have the shade Throne, which is more of the burgundy purpley shade. That is such a beautiful pastel-y pinky purple. I love that. I wish there was like more of a pastel green here too, instead of these, like these two shades. But that's just me. There you go. Okay, so those are the mattes. Let's move on to the shimmers. The mattes seem very creamy and very buildable on the eyes too, and you will see it when I'm applying it. Let's move on to the shimmers. The first shade is called Gilded, which is a neutral toned champagne shade. Very beautiful, very sparkly, and I love that neutral option of that shade is available. Just if you want like simple everyday kind of looks, it'll be absolutely beautiful. Let's move on to the next two shades, which is Scepter, which is more of a lighter olivey toned green. And then we have the shade Dynasty, which is more of a deeper green to a purple shifting shade. There's like a specks of blue and purple. So let me show it to you. There you go. So the top one is Scepter and the bottom one is Dynasty. You can see how beautiful and sparkly and ethereal that shade is. Very pretty. Okay? You can see that shift too. Let's move on to the next green shimmer shade, which is Empire. And Empire is definitely more of a mid-tone green, I would say. But it has a lot of different colored sparkles that are running throughout it, and this is such a smooth shade. It's like a green, like an olivey tone green, I would say, with a ton of pink sparkles running throughout it. Next we have the shade Regal, which is a very neutral toned bronzy, mauvey kind of shade. Very pretty. If you know me, you know I love these kind of shade. And this shade came broken in my palette, of course, right? But I was able to swish it back right in. Very, very pretty. And then we have the shade Crown, which is a deeper tone purple shade, which I feel like this Crown shade definitely has a lot of holographic, I won't even say, I don't think it's a holographic, but it's like a deeper purple with a lot of purple pink shimmers running throughout it. You can see that. Like in low light, you can definitely see it. And then the last shade is called Opulent, which is like a purple shimmer. I would say this one, the Crown shade, is definitely more blue leaning, whereas the Opulent shade is definitely more purple leaning. And then Opulent also has a lot of shimmer particles. I see gold, orange, a little bit of blue. Okay, so those are the shimmers all together swatched. Let me turn on the light and show you, just so that you can see all the sparkles, the shine, the all of the palette swatched together. Really, really pretty. I love the sparkle and the shine that this palette is giving. And I love the quality of the mattes too. It's really, really beautiful. Now, once you've seen all the swatches in action, now let's move on to the 2 looks that I created using this palette. So if you're ready, let's begin. Let's begin with our first look with the Crown Legacy palette. It came a little broken, so I'm not gonna, I'll be very careful. This shade and this shade was a little mishmashed when I opened it up. Also, it's coming from Australia, so I'm expecting that, but I was able to press it back in. So let's begin. I just received it today, and tomorrow it's getting revealed. So I'm going to do my best to give you a lot of looks, but let's begin. I am going to start off with this Throne shade. This might be my favorite matte in the palette. Actually, the tones are really, really good. So I'm going to start with this and see. It's like a mix between burgundy and purple. It's really deep and dark. And you can see as soon as I'm like tapping it, the edges are getting blended too. I love Glaminatrix formula. I've not, at this time of filming, I've not swatched this palette. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the same formula like the Grounded palette or the formula as the Timeless Tones palette. Also, I wanted to inform the Glaminatrix brushes, the brush set, they would be back in stock too. Glaminatrix brushes, if you have not seen, I'll definitely use it in the video too, just so that you can see. These are with these like brown handles, the wooden handles. Very pretty. And they work beautifully. I'm going to start with this shade next. And this is Sovereign. And this is more of an olivey green shade. And I'm going to take that, I would say, in the inner part of the crease. It's a little bit more deeper than what I thought, but don't worry. We have a few deeper, lighter shades here to blend it out. Yeah, this is definitely like buildable, as you could see. Like it took very less time for me to just blend this out and build it out. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and forth with both of those shades and try to mend it together, because one is definitely more cool tone than the other. And now, just to melt everything out, I'm going to take this Jewel shade, and Jewel is definitely more like my skin tone shade. I'm going to take that in a big fluffy brush, also from Glaminatrix, and I'm going to start blending the edges. Yeah, this is definitely a blending shade for me, because it's pretty much like my skin tone shade. I'm taking a loose blending brush with this shade Noble, this one, and I'll take that as a blending shade of that purple, just so that we have something to blend into my skin tone. And similarly, I am going to take this shade here, this green, to blend that into the olivey tone green, which I feel like definitely here is more cool toned, whereas the other green that we applied, the Sovereign shade, is definitely more warm toned. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to mix Sovereign with this shade. and just see if I can lighten the tone up or not. Yes, I can definitely do that. Okay, perfect. Because I definitely want a little bit more lighter tone in my crease. There you go, that solves it. So I'm just going to take both of them and then take it on the lower lash line too, just in the inner part. Now, time for shimmers. I'm going to start off with this opulent shade, this one, in my outer corners, and for the inner portion, I'm thinking I should do Scepter, this one, in the inner portion. So let's do that. With no glitter glue, I'm going to start off with opulent. Yeah, it's showing up really beautifully. And it's very lightly packed. It's not like textured by any means, at least the one that I'm applying right now. Okay, so pretty. And now I'm going to take a flatter brush, which Glaminatrix has like a flat but a fluffy brush, and it picks so beautifully on the brush. So I'm going to take that Scepter shade on this brush. Just going to spray this so that I don't get any fallout. And I'm going to take that in the inner portion of the eyelid. And then melt it with that purple. And you can see these are definitely more buildable and sparkly. And I'm going to take a loose fluffy brush and I'm going to take this gilded shade, this beautiful neutral tone shade, and I'm going to take that in my inner corner, just right there. Okay, so pretty. Let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara, and I'll come right back to show you my first look. And there you go, that's my first eye look. I really love the way how this turned out. Again, it's very effortless, very thinly packed, but it definitely packs a punch on the eyes. You can definitely see the sparkle and the shine, and that's what I love about Glaminatrix formula. I don't think it's anywhere, like if I'm talking about the quality, I don't think it's similar to the Bonfire or the Grounded palette, where it is super pigmented all at once. But also I feel like it's a little different from the Timeless Tones and the Nearly Naturals palette, because the shimmers, they are not like that dry packed. It's very thinly packed like them, but it is smoother when I'm touching it. But it's also not as thick as the shimmers were there in the Bonfire palette. Like it is definitely a little different, and I know because it's a collaboration from with Monolith, it might be a little different, but I've not used all of the shades in the palette too. Let's move on to the next eye look and see how it goes. For the next eye look, let's start off with this shade Rain, and Rain is more a blue eyeshadow, like a deeper blue, and I'm going to take that. There's definitely some kick up in the pan, but I'm going to just tap off the excess and see how it goes. And I'm going to take that in the outer portion of the eyelid, and I'm patting it right there. Now I instantly, as soon as I opened this palette, I definitely felt like there is no mid-tone shade of blue or lighter tone of blue to blend this out. So I would have definitely preferred a little bit more of a lighter tone blue somewhere in the palette. I'm going to take that same shade in the outer corner of the lower lash line. I love that this blue is there for sure, just to give a little bit more variety, but also I feel like to blend out that cool tone blue, the only shade that I can go to is this gray, and which is Majesty. So I am going to take that and I'm going to slowly start blending the edges. And this is a very loose blending brush from Glaminatrix. This is EO7. So I'm basically gonna pat the edges and then start blending it in circular motion, just so that I get like a easy blend, which I'm glad that at least this shade is there to blend the cool tones, which it is blending very nicely. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, it's definitely blending. You can see that gradient of blue coming through when I'm blending with that gray, which is amazing. Okay, so I take that back. I was definitely missing a lighter tone blue, but if that gray solves the purpose, then I'm okay with it. And you can see there's no like harsh lines or anything. I was able to blend it very nicely. So that's really good. I am going to dip into this pink and place that in the inner portion of the crease and melt it with that blue. It's a very pastel-y pinky purple shade, and that would flow really good with that blue shade. Okay, you can see that blend. I'm going to take that same thing on the inner portion of the lower lash line too, just to wrap around the eye. Time for shimmers. Okay, I'm going to start off with this shade Crown, this one, and I'm going to take that as a blending shade between that blue and the center of the lid. So I'm overlapping on top of it, and you can see that blue purple coming through. It is definitely like a blue with a lot of pink and purple sparkles running throughout it. Okay, just right there. Now for the inner portion of the eyelid, I want to take something neutral, and let's take that Regal shade, this neutral shade, and I'm gonna pat it right there in the inner portion of the eyelid. Okay, just right there. It's so sparkly, really, really pretty. For the inner corner, let's take that gilded shade again, this one. That's our perfect inner corner shade. And I'm going to take that right there in the inner portion of the eyelid. And I'm going to take it right there in the inner corners. Right there, okay? Very pretty. For the lower lash line, where we have this area left alone, I am going to take this Dynasty shade. And this is a beautiful green to a blue shifting shade. And I'm going to take that right there in the lower lash line. So pretty. Yeah, I definitely need to use that shade all across the eyelid someday. And I'll definitely do a 3 palettes 3 looks video using this palette very, very soon. I'm going to finish off this eye with some black eyeliner, liner and mascara, and I'll come right back. And there you go. That's my second eye look. I really love this eye look too. I love the way how these mattes are blending with each other, and I love the choice of the shimmers too. I really, really love it. I feel like to make it a little bit more wearable, I would have made a choice of brown in this. I really felt like I'm losing on the brown just to make it more wearable, and especially because we have that olivey tone green as in the warmer tone side. I would have loved a brown, but that's just me. I love that there is an inclusion of this gray so that I can blend that blue and I can get that gradient, which I'm really liking, because when I opened the palette I was like, yes, I'm definitely missing out on a mid-tone or a lighter tone blue. If it was a muted blue, I would have definitely liked that more. Apart from that, I feel like this is the Legacy shade is definitely a green and this is a blue, but I feel like the depth is very similar. So we have like 3 tones of deeper tone mattes in this palette, but we do not have the same shades of lighter tone palettes. Like this to complement this, great. This to complement a lighter matte, it's not there. This to complement a lighter tone green, that is there. So I feel like instead of this olivey green, if it was a lighter tone blue, I felt like that would have been better. But that's just me. I would have avoided this gray tone, lighter tone matte, and instead of that I would have given a brown to just complement with this matte too. Just for an option of like a everyday look. But that's all that I have for the review of this palette. I know I'm just doing 2 looks with this palette right now, but I'll definitely include a 3 palettes 3 looks video with that palette coming in future very, very soon. This palette launches on September 28th at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That would be early in the morning here, Eastern Standard Time in America. So I will link all the launch details in the description box below for you guys. You can use my code SMITHYSONY to save 10% off, and it is an affiliated code. And this palette was sent to me in PR by Glaminatrix Cosmetics, and I thank them very, very much. They're definitely one of my favorite indie brands that is out there, and I really am glad that I am a part of their PR list. But that's all for today. You guys have to let me know if you are purchasing this palette or not, and also do keep in mind their brushes, all of them are getting in stock by the time this launch happens. But that's all for today. If you did like my video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.